Sarvebhyo Namaskaraha. Hope I'm audible. Can we start? Vandetam Madavaranendra Vadanam Madbhagadheya Kritim Shundadanda Suchalanena Jagatam Mayantarayamayan Vidravya Pranati Prasanna Hridayo Yo Nuktayeva Swayam Rakshatyan Vahamatmanoti Virudam Vaidyesha Putra Pitham. Let us continue. Let us do a quick recap and continue with Damanakas and Sanjeevakas Samvada. Before that, yesterday, when I was going through this Chandarava Katha in order to find out the meaning of Kakudruma and if it had any relevance, I went through the story again and also read a few commentaries. And I was quite surprised to know that this story is one of the most popular stories and interpreted stories of Panchatantra. And there are many scholars around the world who have interpreted it in different ways, through sociological lens and so on. So I just thought I will give a quick. There is one interpretation of the story where this story of this Chandarava Srigala becoming the king and then being killed by his ministers and other animals is a kind of a metaphor of a lower caste person trying to rise in status and then being killed by the higher caste ones. I was surprised that there are such interpretations because the narrative is actually quite clear. Because when Damanaka starts the story, then he makes it very clear that the reason for Chandarava's death was not because of some interjati clash and jati inferiority or superiority, but because Abhyantaraha tena tyaktaha bahyaha abhyantarikritaha. So insiders were made into outsiders and outsiders were made insiders. So he left his jati and failed to protect his own men who would actually protect him at all times, and the kind of connection that one has with one's own jati that can never be fully cut off. Okay, so that is the idea, and that is why Chandarava was killed, but not because he is a metaphor for a lower caste person who is trying to rise in status in the society and then being killed off by the upper caste people. But there are such interpretations as well, so I thought I will just share them. And another point was the meaning and relevance of Kakudruma, right? So as I mentioned in yesterday's class, Kakud, the Sthula Artha for Kakud is a hump. Okay. So it refers to a hump. So Kakud, and it also refers to a chief or a head by extension, right? Because the hump, the strength of a hump symbolizes the strength of the bull, right? In fact, desi cows and bulls are said to have a very sharp, very nice hump. That is the lakshana for one of the lakshanas of a desi cow, right? Or a bull. So Kakud also by extension refers to a sreshtha or a chief or a head. So a Kakudruma is, so you can probably take him to be a chief of chiefs, the greatest of all chiefs, and so on. There can be a metaphorical meaning to that, where he declares himself to be the king of kings. So Kakudruma, so the tallest of all trees. So Druma is a tree. So Druma also can be extended and understood as a sreshtha, most sreshtha of sreshthas and so on. And So when I was referring to this, I also, it struck me, I did not mention this yesterday. So Rama is also, Rama is often referred to as Kakutstha, right? He's referred to as Kakutstha. Why? Kakutsthasya apatyam ityataha Kakutsthaha iti kathyate. Because he was born in the Vamsha of Kakutstha, he is referred to as Kakutstha. In fact, anybody in Rama's Vamsha who was born in the Ikshvaku clan after Kakutstha can be referred to as Kakutstha. And who is this Kakutstha? Kakutstha was one of the descendants of Ikshvaku who helped Indra fight a war. Okay. And in that war with Asuras, it is mentioned that Indra took the form of a bull, and this Kakut stood up on his hump and fought the war and won the war for Indra. So Kakudi tishtati iti Kakutstha. So because he stood on the Kakut and fought, he was called Kakutstha. And because Rama came in the Vamsha of Kakutstha, Rama was called Kakutstha. All right. Now we will do a recap of this katha. Kasminchid vanapradeshe Chandaravo nama Srigalaf prativasati sma. Sakadachit Kshudha Vishnu Jitvalauliyan Nagaramadhye pravishtaha. Athatam Nagaravasina Sarameya Avalokya Sarvata Shabdayamanaf Paridhavya Tikshna Bhakshitum Arabdhaha. Sobitair Bhakshyamanav Pranabhayat Pratyasanna Rajakatam pravishtaha. So because of his Chapalya, Jihva Chapalyat Saha Nagaramadhye Pravishtaha. He came inside a city. Tam Nagaravasinaha Sarameyaha. The dogs that were in the city chased him and started eating him up. They bit him and they started eating him up. When Sopitair Bhakshyamanaha Pranabhayat, he went and entered a nearby Rajaka's house. तत्र नीलीरसपरिपूर्णं महाभाण्डं सज्जीकृतम् आसीत् तत्र सारमेयैराक्रान्तो भाण्डमध्ये पतितः अथ यावन् निष्क्रान्तस्तावन् नीलवर्णः सञ्जातः तत्रापरे सारमेयास्तं शृगालमजानन्तो यथाभीष्टदिशं जग्मुः चण्डरवोऽपि दूरतरं प्रदेशमासाद्य काननाभिमुखं प्रतस्थेन च नीलवर्णेन कदाचित् निजरङ्गस्त्यज्यते उक्तं च. Neelavarna does not leave once it gets hold of somebody. Vajralepasya murkhasya narinam karkatasya cha ekograhastumeenanam neeli madhyapayorapi. So here, as there is a talk about Neelavarna, so of course it is very clear that this is the blue color, but then this Varna has been interpreted as caste, and so that is how the interpretations have started. But Athatam hara gala garala tamala samaprabham apurvam sattvam avalokya sarve simha vyaghra dvipi vrikaprabhritayo ranyanivasino bhayavyakula chittas samantat palayana kriyam kuruvanti kathayanti cha nagyayate asya kidrigvicheshtitam paurushancha tad durataram gacchamaha uktancha. So you see, immediately after they spot this creature, hara gala garala tamala samaprabham. So it has the kanti prabha. So the same way as hara gala garala. So the garala which stays inside the hara gala, in Neelakantha's kantha, the poison, as dark as the poison and as dark as the bark of tamala vriksha. Seeing this, simha vyaghra dvipi vrikaprabhritaya. So all these other animals that were there in the forest, they are frightened because it is something that is new. Okay, so it's something that is really new. So that is why they go away. Okay, they don't even want to have any sort of a relationship with such an unknown creature, so they leave. Right? Nayasya cheshtitam vidyan nakulam na parakramam natasya vishvaset pragnyo yadi chet shriyamatmanaha. So the one who wishes for one's own welfare should not indulge with somebody whose action you do not know about, whose kula you are not familiar with, and whose potential you have no idea about. You are not to trust that person. So these are the primary political lessons here. So it is not that there is some kind of a whatever sociological reading has been given. Rather than that, we have to focus on the political lesson that one has to be very, very, very cautious when one is the king and choose his sevakas appropriately, and always be surrounded by people who are extremely trustworthy. And this trustworthiness, according to Panchatantra, comes to a great extent. So there are certain things that come naturally by birth, right? And that is what jati indicates. So jati is an indication of things that are what can we say, that are beyond man's power, right? So whatever one might do to take it away, it stays inside us. The swabhava will stay inside us, right? In that way, every person is attached to his or her own jati, because it is associated with the person even before a person develops conscious ways of looking at the society, understanding, and so on. Even before he starts doing all that, he is associated with jati, right? So even before he starts putting his effort, in some or the other way, jati has influenced him. So that factor is not to be discounted. So that the kind of trust that gets generated because of such an association is not to be discounted at any cost. So you have to keep that in mind and play your cards. So that is the political lessons that is insisted here, I would say. And in today's world, if we say that jati does not play that important role in our lives, because in those days, definitely when Panchatantra was written, people lived in close communities, so one grew up around one's jati. So that we can definitely say that there is a huge amount of influence of the jati and associated customs and traditions and people on a person who is growing in such an environment. But today, if we say as urban dwellers, city dwellers, we do not have that. We have a different community upbringing, right? So we have to understand that jati can be replaced by the community in which we grow. So even before we consciously understand the world, what is the community where our growth happens, that community plays a huge role. So unconsciously, so many things enter inside our hearts because of that community, and it is that that community plays a great role in one's life. So one has to be conscious of that and take decisions when one is appointing people and so on. So during difficult times, instead of trusting an outsider, it is a better choice to always have trustworthy insiders around you. That is the primary lesson from this Chandarava story. We have to understand it is only because of that he was killed, not because of anything else, which Tamanaka makes it very clear at the start itself. Chandaravopi bhayavyakulitan vignaya idamaha bhogo shvapadaha kim yuyam mamam drishtva santrasta vrajatha tanna bhedavyam aham brahmanadya swayameva srishtva bheda yat shvapadanam kaschid raja nasti tattvam mayadya sarva shvapada prabhutve abhishiktaha kakudrumabhidha. So I have been created by Brahma this day. Today only I have been created, and because there is no king for the animals, I have been sent as the king Kakudruma. Tato gatva kshittale tan sarvan paripalayeti. Tato aham atragatha dharma machhatra chhayayam sarvairapi shvapadair vartitavyam. Aham Kakudrumo nama raja trailokyepi sanjara. Very clear. Tachrutva simha vyaghra purassara shvapadaha swamin prabho samadisha iti vadantastam parivabhuhu. Atha tena simhasya amatya padavi pradatta vyagrasya shayyapalakatvam dvipinas tambuladhikaraha vrikasya dwarapalakatvam yecha atmiyaha shrigalaha taihi saha alapamatramapi na karoti. Primarily, this was his mistake, right? So if we see, he has given an appropriate role to the Simha, Vyaghra, Dvipi, and Vrika. But then totally abandoned his own people, the Shrigalas. So now there is naturally a question, if somebody rises to this post, let us say, should he always give preference to one's own community members and just ignore the other talented ones and so on? It is not like that. So probably this is open for interpretation. The author has left it to us for understanding. Right? See, the way he gave Simha the Amatya post, Vyaghra the Shayya Palakatva post, he made some judgment and assigned the post. Right? He could have offered something for the Shrigalas, but he decided to totally neglect them. And because of this, he suffered. Right? So another point which we can recall from the beginning of the Panchatantra itself is that Panchatantra advises that a person grows means his jati grows, right? So a person, he gets a lot from his jati, and then his rise should also enable the jati to rise in some way. In fact, that is one of the reasons that he should aspire for growth and so on. We read in the portion where Vardhamana was contemplating upon enterprising even when he had money. It was one of the important points was to bring fame to his jati, to better the position of his family and his relatives and his jati, right? So that was one of the important points, that jati and an individual have a give and take relationship in the society. An individual gets a lot from his jati, and he also has a responsibility towards his community, which this Chandarava totally ignored, and that is why the Shrigalas got angry. And in fact, in the Hitopadesha version of the Panchatantra, the narrative is such that the Shrigalas actually create this plan, and they wantonly let out the cry so that this Chandarava is gets deeply motivated and excited and gives a cry. So it was it was planned and executed by the other Shrigalas because they were very unhappy that they were totally neglected, right? So from this, it is not that one's community has to be definitely favored and they have to be given higher and higher positions, not that. But then they should not be neglected as well, because Ayam Chandaravaha Taisaha Alapa Matram Api Nakaroti. He does not even talk to them. He totally abandoned them, and that is why he perished. Shrigala Sarvepi Ardhachandram Datva Nisarita. So all the Shrigalas, so they were all sent out. Okay. So that is not right. Okay. So that is why he perished. So in fact, from this we can understand that, see, whatever, so for an individual's growth, a jati contributes in some way, then it becomes the responsibility and the duty of the individual to pay back to the jati. If he does not do so, if he fails to do so, he will perish. एवं तस्य राज्यक्रियायां वर्तमानस्य ते सिंहादयो मृगान् व्यापाद्य तत् पुरतः प्रक्षिपन्ति सोऽपि प्रभुधर्मेण सर्वेषां तान् विभज्य प्रयच्छति. So Rajakriyayam, when he was doing, so when he was the king, what does he do? All the mrigas, they got the hunt and they spread it before him, and he divided it and distributed it to all the animals. Evam gacchati kale kadachittena sabhagatena duradeshe shabdayamanasya Shrigalavrandasya kolahalaha ashravi. So one day he heard the kolahala of Shrigalavranda. Tam shabdam shrutva pulakitatanuhu anandashru-purna nayanaha utthaya taraswarena virodham arabha. Immediately let out a huge cry. Te simhadayastam taraswaram akarnya Shrigaloyam iti matva lajaya adhomukhaha kshanam sthitva mithastha. So now they were really angry that they were deceived, because he told them that he was a divine being and so on. But now they are extremely angry that they trusted him so much, and now he has totally deceived them. It is because of that they are very angry. So this Nichak Shrigala has taken us for a ride. So let us kill him. So pitadakaranya palaitu micchan tatra sthane eva simhadibhihi khandashak krito mritascha. Immediately he was torn into pieces by the other animals and killed. Atoham bravimi tyaktaschabhyantara yena bahyaschabhyantari kritaha. So the one who leaves his own people and tries to appease the outsiders and bring them in, they can never be trusted. Such a person will perish. Continue. Tadakaranya Pingalakaha. So this is the most important argument of Damanaka, which actually changes Pingalaka's mind, right? Because Damanaka has been narrating 2-3 stories to Pingalaka, trying to change his mind. But this important story really touches Pingalaka, and he realizes the graveness of his mistake by listening to this, because he has totally abandoned all the wild animals and he is roaming with this Shashpabhoji, who is definitely not an insider to Pingalaka. He's a complete outsider. Right? As far as Pingalaka is concerned, he has never imagined a friendship with the bull, and he has a natural shatrutva with the bull. But despite all that, he is doing that. And then when Damanaka rightly narrates the Chandarava story to him, then he starts realizing. Now something rings a bell inside him. Now he asks, Kaf pratyayaha atra vishaye yat samamo paridrishta buddhihi saha yadadya mamagretena nischayah kruto yat prabhate pingalakam madhishyami. So he just decided in front of me that he is going to kill you. Prabhate avasara velayam arakta mukhanayana spuritadharo dishovalokayan anuchitasthanopavishtastvam krura drishtya vilokayashyati. So he will see you with, he will give you a very bad glance, krura drishti. Very cruel glance he is going to give you. Evam nyatva. So seeing that, yaduchitam tat kartavyam iti kathayitva sanjeevaka sakasham gataha pranamya upavishtaha. Damanaka sanjeevaka sampadaha. Sanjeevakopi sodvegakaram mandagatya samayantam tamudviksha sadarataram uvacha bhomitra swagatam chirat drishtosi apishimam bhavataha tat kathaya yena adeyam api tubhyam grihagataya prayachami. So even something that is adeya, but I will give it to you. Why te dhanyas te vivekagnyas sabhyayah bhutale agachanti grihe yasham karyartham suhrudo janaha te eva dhanyaha te eva vivekagnaha te eva sabhyaha yasham grihe karyartham suhrudaha janaha agachanti. To whose house good people come for accomplishing different tasks. Damanakaha aha bhoho katham shivam sevakajanasya. Now Damanaka starts talking about the very sad life of Sevakas here. So why is he doing this here? There are 2 reasons, of course. To convince, see, even though it looks superficially when we look at it, it looks that Damanaka is including Sanjeevaka and himself on the same side and addressing both of them as the Sevaka of the king. Right? But then Damanaka, when he highlights the harsh reality of the life of a Sevaka, he is hinting to Sanjeevaka that without going through any of these, Sanjeevaka is having a good time with the king, and that is wrong. Okay, that is, it is not right for Sanjeevaka to enjoy being the most trusted Sevaka of the king without going through any of the harsh without going through any of the harsh situations that all the other Sevakas go through. So in one or the other way, the author is hinting to us that that is why Sanjeevaka perished. We might think of Sanjeevaka as an innocent, pure beast, but then he failed to recognize that he is enjoying royal patronage at 0 cost, which will definitely anger other Sevakas, and it is not right also at some level, right? That he alone is given special privilege and he is treated as an Apta Sevaka, while other Sevakas are struggling and toiling day in and day out. So that is the reason, and that is the mistake on the part of Sanjeevaka. Sampattayaf parayatta sadachittam anirvritam swajivitepya vishwasas tesham ye rajasevaka. Rajasevakanam kutaha sukham. There is sukha for Rajasevaka because they are toiling all day. I think we have to continue from here. तावज्जन्मापि दुःखाय ततो दुर्गतता सदा तत्रापि सेवया वृत्तिरहो दुःखपरम्परा तावज्जन्मापि दुःखाय ततो दुर्गतता तदा सदा तत्रापि सेवया वृत्तिरहो दुःखपरम्परा. First of all, Janma itself is a big dukkha. So 10 months of being in mother's womb and then coming out, okay, that itself is a great dukkha. So Janma itself is dukkha. Tataha sada durgatata. And then always being in distress is another thing. And then sevaya vrittihi, and then to be a sevaka. So it takes dukkha to a wholly different level. Aho dukkha parampara. Kidrishi esha dukkha parampara asti. Just it's a series of dukkha after dukkha in this life. Jivantopi mritah pancha shruyante kila bharate daridro vyadhito murkhah pravasi nityasevakaha. Jivantopi mritah pancha shruyante kila bharate daridro vyadhito murkhah pravasi nityasevakaha. Jivantaha api mritaha pancha shruyante kila bharate daridraha vyadhitaha murkhaha pravasi nityasevakaha. So these 5, as mentioned in the Mahabharata, bharate yete pancha ke daridraha vyadhitaha murkhaha pravasi nityasevakaha iti yete pancha janaha jivantaha api mritaha kathyante. Even though they are alive, they are as good as dead only. Who are they? Daridraha. So the one who does not have money. Every day struggle for money in deep poverty. He is mrita. Then vyadhita, one who has a serious roga in one's own body. He is also as good as dead. And then murkha, right? And then pravasi, somebody who is not living in his own land. So he also cannot enjoy life. Why are these people as good as dead? Because they cannot enjoy life, right? So the very purpose of being alive, which is to be joyful, that is lost for these people. Nitya sevakaha, the one who is doing seva dharma, the one who is a nitya sevaka. All these people are as good as dead. Nashnati svechhaya utsukyad vinidro na prabudhyate nishankam vacho brute sevako pyatra jivati. Nashnati svechhaya utsukyad vinidro na prabudhyate nishankam vacho brute sevako pyatra jivati. Svechhaya na ashnati. So he cannot eat as he pleases. Autsukyat vinidrahasan na prabudhyate. Because of being restless all the time, he does not have sleep. Vinidraha, he does not have nidra at all. Tasman na prabudhyate. So he does not wake up joyfully, does not wake up like anybody else, because there is no waking up for him, because there is no proper sleep. Autsukyat, because of restlessness, saha vinidraha, tasmat na prabudhyate, and because of that he does not wake up like others, because he has no sleep. Nishankam vachaha na brute. So without freely he cannot speak. Okay? He's always doubting, okay, if he will get caught, okay, or if he might utter something wrong, and because of that he'll be fired. So because of these vicharas, he cannot speak freely ever. Nishankam vachaha na kadapi brute. Sevakopi jivati. Okay. But even then he lives. Okay. He cannot do these 3, yet he lives. What a curse. Atra sevakaha api jivati. Shapaha. Sevashva vrittirakhyata yaistair mithya prajalpitam. Swachandam charatishvatra sevakah parashasanat. Sevashva vrittirakhyata yaistair mithya prajalpitam. Swachandam charatishvatra sevakah parashasanat. So there are some people who have equated seva vritti to shva vritti, shunaka vritti. Okay. So it is the life of a dog. Okay. Nai polappu we say, right, in Tamil. Same thing. Seva Shwavrittihi Akhyata. So Seva Dharma has been equated to the life of a dog. Shunakasya Vrittihi. Shwavrittihi Akhyata. Yaihi evam Seva Vrittihi Akhyata Kathita. So the ones who have equated Seva Vritti to Shwavritti, they have lied. Taihi mithya prajalpitam. They have actually lied. Why? Atra swaswachandam charati. So actually a Shunaka is very free. It just does what it wants to do. Right? It freely moves around and does what it wants to. Sevakaha tu parashasanadeva charitum prabhavati. But then the actions of the Sevaka are highly controlled. He can only do what he is ordered to do. He cannot do anything freely. Swaswachandam charati. So this vritti and Shunaka vritti can never be the same. Bhushayya brahmacharyancha krishatvam laghu bhojanam sevakasya yateryadvad visheshah papadharmajaha. Bhushayya brahmacharyancha krishatvam laghu bhojanam sevakasya yateryadvad visheshah papadharmajaha. Again, the harsh reality of the life of a servant. So he is highlighting all this to Sanjivaka. But unfortunately, Sanjivaka is so naive that he is not able to get the meaning of this. So he only understands the sthulartha, but is not able to understand his own mistake. He is not able to understand that he is enjoying royal patronage without any effort. But then the other sevakas are putting so much of effort and they are not receiving even half or even 10% of what Sanjivaka is enjoying. So Bhushayya, sleeping on the ground. Brahmacharyam, no brahmacharya. Then Krishatva, be very lean. And then Laghu Bhojana, Alpa Bhojana, Yetani, all these four. Yatehe Yadvat Tadvat Sevakasya. So in these aspects, a Sevaka is very similar to a Yati. Right? A Yati does not sleep on a great cot with a good mattress spread on it. He does not sleep like that. He sleeps on the ground. Yatihi, Bhushayya. Similarly, Brahmacharya. So he does not enjoy grihastha pleasures, nothing like that. He is on the path of Brahmacharya. Right? So Brahmacharyam. Krishatvam, when he is lean, he cannot be a fat soap. Okay? And because of Laghu Bhojana, he cannot overeat Laghu Bhojana, and because of that, he has to maintain his lean body. Yatehe yadvat tadvat sevakasyapi bhavanti. But then atra bhedaha asti. But then there is a bheda here, vishesha here. What? So sevakasya, all these result in papa. Okay, papa jaha. So all these result in papa as far as a sevaka is concerned, because he is doing all this to please his master, not for any super nice purpose, a thing like that. He is just doing it to appease his master. But then a yati, he does the same thing for dharma, and because of that, from that, so dharma comes, punya comes. But then because of these four, in case of sevaka, it only results in papa. That is the vishesha. That is the bheda here. Visheshaha ityasya bhedaha ityartha. Shita tapadi kashtani sahate yani sevakaha dhanayatani chalpani yadi dharmaya muchyate. Shita tapadi kashtani sahate yani sevakaha dhanayatani chalpani yadi dharmaya muchyate. Yani shita atapa adi kashtani dhanaya sevakaha sahate. So sevaka bears all these kashtas. What kind of kashtas? Shita, atapa, shita, ushna, and other kashtas. Whatever his yajamana instructs him to do, he just follows that. And he shita atapadi kashta means he is bearing all the dvandvas, right? So he is becoming a dvandva sahishnu. But for what? Dhanaya sevakaha sahate. Etat sarvam dhanartham karoti sevakaha. All these great things he is doing, but for what purpose? Towards what end? Towards getting money. धनार्थम अथवा उदरपूरणार्थम करोति यदि तानि च अल्पानि धर्माय सहते मुच्यते. So see, whatever he is doing towards getting money, even a small portion of that, alpani tani alpani api dharmartham karoti chet, if he does that for the purpose of dharma, he would be liberated, he could be free. Okay, so much of kashta he has to bear is the idea. Yati is a sannyasi. संजीवक आह अथ भवान् किं वक्तुमनाः. सो ब्रवीत् मित्र सचिवानां मन्त्रभेदं न युज्यते उक्तं च. संजीवक asked, what is it that you want to tell? Please be direct. Okay? He's a satvika being. He wants things direct. He's not very sharp. He has not grasped his intention yet. Sachivanam mantrabhedam na yujyate. So he says, mantra here refers to royal secrets. Right? So mantris, ministers are not supposed to break open the royal secrets and reveal it outside. Why? Yo mantram swamino bhindyat sachivye sanniyojitaha sahanti nrupakaryam tat swayancha narakam vrajet. Yo mantram swamino bhindyat sachivye sanniyojitaha sahanti nrupakaryam tat swayancha narakam vrajet. Yaha sachivyaha mantram swaminaha bhindyat साचिव्ये सन्ने नियोजितः सहाहन्ति नृपकार्यं तत् स्वयं च नरकं व्रजेत्. यः साचिव्ये नियोजितः सत्. So the one being there in the post of a minister. So being in a ministerial post. Swaminaha mantram bhindya. So the one who reveals the secret of his Swami. Tataha saha nrupaka. Saha tat nrupakaryam hanti. First thing, the intended karya, whatever was to be accomplished, that gets destroyed. Right? Nrupakaryam saha hanti. Nrupakaryam saha nashayati. Swayam narakancha brajed. And also he will go to hell. Right? Yena yasya krito bhedas sachivena mahipatehe tena shastra vadhastasya krita ityaha naradaha. Yena yasya krito bhedas sachivena mahipatehe tena shastra vadhastasya krita ityaha naradaha. Yena sachivena yasya mahipatehe bhedaha kritaha tena tasya shastra vadhaha kritaha iti naradaha. So Narada has told this probably in Narada Smriti. Yena Sachivena, by that minister, by whom Bheda is done. Yena Sachivena Bhedaha Kritaha. The secret is broken, it is revealed. Yasya Mahipatehe. The king whose secret is revealed by a minister, by that minister, Tasya Ashastra Vadhaha Kritaha. So his Vadha has been done by him. It is not that he is just revealing his secret, but it is equivalent to killing him, finishing him off without a weapon. Tasya mahipatehe yasya mahipatehe mantrabhedaha kritaha tasya anena sachivena anena mantrina ashastra vadhaha kritaha. He has done this. So it is the same papa. So the papa that a minister would incur if he plotted against the king and killed him, it is the same papa that he will incur if he broke and revealed his secret, because it is equivalent to killing the king without a weapon. Ashastra vadhaha kritaha iti Narada Smritau asti. Tathapi maya tava sneha pasha baddhena mantrabhedaha kritaha. Yatastvam mama vachanena atra rajakule vishwastah pravishtascha uktancha. Tatha api maya tava sneha pasha baddhena mantrabhedaha kritaha. Yataha tvam mama vachanena anena atra rajakule vishwastah pravishtaha cha. Even then, Even though I am going to incur a great sin, sneha pasha baddhena maya. So I am attached to you because out of love. Okay. So I am sneha rupa pashena baddhaha aham. So I am tied up with this pasha called sneha. So I have a lot of affection towards you, and because of that, Mantrabhedaha kritaha, I am revealing the royal secret. Yataha, because tvam mama vachanena atra rajakule vishwastaha pravishnascha. And it is only because of me that trusting my words, you entered this Rajakula, which is not your place. Because this wild forest is not your natural dwelling place, but trusting my words, you entered this place. Right? So it is my responsibility to take care of it. Vishrambhadyasya yo mrityum avapnoti kathanchana tasya hatya taduthasa prahedam vachanam manuh. Vishrambhadyasya yo mrityum avapnoti kathanchana tasya hatya taduthasa prahedam vachanam manuh. Yaha Vishrambhat yasya yaha mrityum avapnoti kathanchana tasya hatya tadutha sa praha idam vachanam manu. Yaha Vishrambhat, Vishwasat. So because of trusting somebody, kathanchana mrityum avapnoti, somebody who dies somehow, okay, through whatever means he can die, but the moola karana being trusting somebody, Vishwasa. Tasya sahatya, so that killing, tadutha, so it actually came from the person who was responsible for his trust, right? So he earned his trust, he trusted somebody and died, right? So this hatya is considered to have come from that person whom he trusted, tadutha, tasmadutha. It has come from there. Iti vachanam manuhu praha. So manuhu evam vadati. So Manu has told this. So I would be responsible for your death. However you may die, it would actually come to me because you trusted me and came here. Vishrambhaha, Vishwasaha. Tattavopari pingalakoyam dushtabuddhihi. Kathitam chadya anena matpuratas chatushkaranataya yat prabhate sanjeevakam hatva samasta mrigaparivaram chirat truptim neshyami tatassamayuktaha swamin nayuktamidam yan mitradrohena jeevanam kriyate uktancha tat asmat tava upari on you pingalakaha dushtabuddhihi. Pingalaka is with malicious intent. Kathitancha adya anena, and today he spoke this matpurataha, in front of me. Chatushkaranataya, so staying between the 4 ears. So he just told me, so it is only we two that it is only we two who are aware of the matter. Chatushkaranataya saha uttavan yad prabhate sanjeevakam hatva. So tomorrow morning I am going to kill Sanjeevaka and samasta mriga parivaram chirat truptim neshyami. I am going to bring satisfaction to the entire Mrigakula after a long time by killing Sanjeevaka. Tatassamayuktaha. Then he was told by me, Swamin nayuktamidam. This is not right. Yad, that mitradrohena jeevanam kriyate, that you are going to live your life by committing mitradroha, by betraying your friend. You are going to live your life. It's not at all right. Why? Api brahmavadham kritva prayaschittena shuddhyati tadarthena vichirunena nakathanchit suhridruhaha. Api brahmavadham kritva prayaschittena shuddhyati tadarthena vichirunena nakathanchit suhridruhaha. So brahmavadham kritva api tadarthena prayaschittena vichirunena shuddhyati suhridruhaha nakathanchit shuddhyati. even after killing a Brahmana, Brahmavadham krutvapi, Brahmanavadham krutvapi, tadarthena prayaschittena vichirnena shuddhyati. By the acharana of an appropriate prayaschitta. Tadarthena means taduchitena vichirnena acharitena prayaschittena. So by performing a prayaschitta ritual which is uchita for Brahmavadha. It will be really tough, right? Maybe we do not know how many years it will take to perform, how many years of japa one has to do, we do not know. Nevertheless, there is a prayaschitta for that. Prayaschittena manushyaha shuddhyati. He becomes pure once again. Suhridruhaha kathanchit shuddhyati. Then if you do mitradroha, if you betray your friend, there is no coming back from that. There is no prayaschitta also for such a cruel act. Tatastenaham samarishenoktah bho dushtabuddhe sanjeevakastavat chashpabhoji vyoma-samskrta-pathasala tadasmakam swabhavikam vairamiti katham ripurupekshate tasmat samadibhirupayair hanyate nacha hate tasmin doshasya uktancha tena aham sa amarishena uktaha. Then I was angrily told by him. He got very angry and told me, "Ho dushtabuddhe, Sanjeevaka is a grass eater. Sanjeevakaha tavat shashpabhoji. Vyoma-samskrta, and we are meat eaters. Tadasmakam swabhavikam vairam." So this is our natural enmity, right? Swabhavikam vairamiti. Katham ripuhu upekshate. So how can I be indifferent to a natural enemy? Ripuhu katham upekshate. Tasmat samadibhi upayair hanyate. So samadibhi upayair. So be it any upaya. Sama, dana, bheda, danda. He is to be killed. That's all. Nacha hate tasmin doshasya. So tasmin hate sati. So if he is killed, there is no dosha there. Why? Tatvapi kanyakam vairi nihantavyo vipaschita anyopayai rashakyo yo hate dosho na vidyate. Tatvapi kanyakam vairi nihantavyo vipaschita anyopayai rashakyo yo hate dosho na vidyate. Tatva api kanyakam vairi nihantavyaha vipaschita Anya upayaihi ashakyaha yaha hate doshaha na vidyate. Yaha vairi anya upayaihi ashakyaha. So the vairi who cannot be subdued by other upayas, kanyakam datva api vipaschita hantavya. Actually, you can even give him your daughter in marriage, earn his trust, and then finish it. It is fine. Kanyakam datva api vipaschita buddhimata nihantavyaha. He is to be killed. Evam krute sati hate. So when he is killed like this, there is absolutely no dosha. Doshaha na vidyate. He can sleep like a child after doing this. It's the logic of Pingalaka. So Damanaka says this, saying that Pingalaka has told these words. Kritya krityam namanyeta kshatriyo yudhi sangataha prasupto drona putrena dhrishtadyumnah purahataha. Kritya krityam namanyeta kshatriyo yudhi sangataha prasupto drona putrena dhrishtadyumnah purahataha. Yudhi sangataha kshatriyaha. Yudhi pravrittaha. Yudhe pravrittaha kshatriyaha. One kshatriya who is already in a war, started the war. Now there is no going back. Kritya krityam namanyeta. What is to be done, what is not to be done. Etat sarvam na vicharaniyam. Kshatriyena na vicharani. Kada yudhe prarabdhe sati. Okay. So after the yuddha has started and he is now in the battlefield, then he is not supposed to do all this vichara and all. Pura prasuptaha Drishtadyumnaha Dronaputrena hataha. Sleeping Drishtadyumna was finished off by Ashwathama. That is an example that Damanaka is spoken. Tadaham tasya nishchayam jnatva vatsakashamagatah. Sampratam menasti vishwasaghataka doshaha. Maya sugupta mantrastava niveditaha. Atha yatte pratibhati tatpurushva. Tadaham tasya nishchayam jnatva vatsakasham iha agatah. So knowing this to be his final decision, tasya nishchayam Evam rupam iti jnatva samyak jnatva vatsakasham vatsamipam iha atra upasthitaha agataha. Sampratam menasti vishwasaghataka doshaha. Now you cannot say that I have betrayed your confidence. Vishwasaghataka doshaha mama nasti. I don't have it anymore because I have revealed the secret to you. Maya sugupta mantraha tava nivedita. So well-protected mantra, well-protected secret I have openly revealed to you. Atha, then yatte pratibhati tatpurushva. Now the ball is in your court. Whatever you want to do, you do. Atha sanjeevakastasya tat vajrapata darunam vachanam shrutva mohamupagataha. Atha chetanam labdva savirakyam idam ho sadhvidam uchyate. Atha sanjeevakaha tasya tat Vajrapata darunam vachanam shrutva moham upagataha. Atha chetanam labdva savairagyam idam aha ho sadhvidam uchyate. Sanjeevaka. So this was again like Vajrapata, so kathora, like the same way it was for Pingalaka. Sanjeevaka also experienced immense pain when he heard this and he fainted. Moham upagataha. Atha chetanam labdva, having regained his consciousness, savairagyam idam aha. Builds bala inside him and becomes, invokes the emotion of vairagya. Okay. So that feeling he invokes, we can't say emotion, that vairagya feeling he invokes inside him and says, Janagamyanaryaha prayena snehavan bhavati raja kripananusari cha dhanam mekho giridurgavarushi cha. Janagamyanarya prayena snehavan bhavati raja kripananusari cha dhanam mekho giridurgavarushi cha. Is rightly told. Prayena naryaha durjanagamyaha. Raja asnehavan bhavati dhananja kripana anusari bhavati mekhascha giridurga varishi bhavati. It is usually remarked that prayana, usually naryaha, women, durjanagamya, they are easily attracted to wicked men. Durjanagamyaha bhavati. They usually approach wicked men naturally. They are somehow attracted to them. Raja asnehavan bhavati. And Raja is never a snehavan. You can never expect affection from a king. So trusting that and believing that you are the favorite of the king and the king has pure affection, love towards you is stupidity. Dhanancha kripana anusari. And dhana follows a kripana, follows a miser. Okay. And Megha Giri Durga Varishi. And Megha actually pours down, showers its rain somewhere in the Giri, okay, in Giri Pradesha and Durga Pradesha. Evam bhavati. So because of this, there is no use for anybody, right? So Kripanagata Dhana is absolutely useless. Evameva Giri Durga Patita Megha Jala, okay, Megha Jala Vrishti is useless, right? And so approaching and being in love with the Durjana is finally futile, and being asnehavan is also not right, not nice, but somehow that is how nature seems to be. We can stop here and we'll take questions. Yes, yes. Just the name Sanjeevaka here imply the one who lives in the correct way. Yeah, you can take Jeevakaha Samyak Jeevati, the one who lives in the right way. Bheda is revealing the secret, breaking open the secret. Pratarita, where does that word come, Sudha Mahodaya? Sudha Mahodaya, you can raise your hand. I will unmute yourself and ask me the question as I am not able to follow it here. Sudha Mahodaya, are you there? So here you may raise your hands, please. See what other pages come up there. Check forward. Yes, Mahodaya.
Namaskaram, Mahodaya. This shloka 291 is very appealing. It talks about Shvavritti, and that is a mithya. It is an understatement or something like that. It says Swachandam Chati Shwatra.
Yeah.
Is there any special alankara in that? I just wanted to know. It's very appealing. This shloka is very
Definitely
nice.
there is one. I just that I do not know the name, as I am not. I usually don't have them. I just read them, but I cannot recall them immediately. I definitely look into them and let you know in the next class.
Dhanyawad.
We can close. There are no more questions. See you in the next class. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.